This is Yvonne Sims. In this episode of Strong and Courageous, I'll be featuring Kiesha Cousar, a woman dedicated to empowering others. Now hear from Kiesha why empowering others is necessary to her life's mission.
My name is Kiesha L. Cousar. An adjective that best describes me is empowerment. That's just one adjective, but I would also like to add relentless. Despite life situations and circumstances, there's an energy that I exude pretty much in all situations. I evoke that even when I don't feel like it. There's something on the inside of me that literally just explodes regarding life and regarding my purpose in life and people's purpose in life. And so that's so very important in me that I can't contain it. And I believe from the foundation in which I was created, looking back and listening to my mother and father, just how I was as a child, I've always had an empowerment spirit about me. My nature is to empower and to encourage others. So that piece of me cannot just be sedentary. It actually explodes. Over time, I've learned what I need to do to pour back into myself. I have to be intentional about doing that because literally I could do what I do and not get paid. I was called to empower. I was born to empower her. And I know that's my life's purpose. And so in order for me to make sure that I'm equipped, I have to step aside. Literally, sometimes I try to close myself off and find a place for solitude. And that's hard for me because internally, I'm always going. There's always something going in my mind. My creative being is always thinking, and I'm very driven. So that innate power in me is steady going. And so I choose to run. I love to run. I love to exercise. That literally just puts me in a place of isolation. I like to run alone because then that piece of me, wherever I am, I'm going to always find something to encourage or empower someone else and to speak into their life. So it's kind of hard to be in my presence and not have some level of engagement where you are at least inwardly finding more about yourself. And so that introspective piece of me is so very important that for myself as well as what I give to others. When I think about my relentless nature, it comes from a place of knowing that God literally has a purpose for my life. And having to fight through situations of my past and my present that I have to keep before me, that I cannot give up. And I take so very important that if I abort the call of God on my life, then I'm aborting other people's promises by not allowing myself to live out loud what He's purposed for me to do. So even when I get in my situations dealing with my own emotional self, challenges that I have to deal with in my family, with my mother and father, with my siblings, just life period, I think about the purpose in which He created me. And I cannot leave this world without fulfilling why He birthed me. And for me, there's an urgency. I can't explain. I just get really full about the urgency of people living out their purpose. And it's a mandate on my life that no gift of mine will go to the grave. There's no gift. And that's so strong for me that I take it seriously every day. That if I'm not fulfilling who He tells me to speak to, what it is that I'm supposed to do, that I could literally be cutting off someone else's promise. And to cut off another person's promise to me is just death. And so for me to be disobedient in what He's called me to do, despite what I thought I should have been doing, the degree I have, but I'm not doing, is far greater for the purpose in which He birthed me. My life's purpose is greater than what it is that I think that I'm supposed to do, or what somebody should have told me this is what you should be doing, or waiting on someone to give me instruction of what I should do. But to hear God for myself and to know what He's called me to do, and to do that, I've got to be obedient to Him. And so that's important to me, to be able to help people to understand that there's a level of greatness that lives on the inside of each and every one of us. And to be able to take that time to discover and to develop and to do what it is we're called to do, hands down. I'll go to the grave excited. Like somebody will be looking at my casket like, what? Why is she smiling? Because for me, to be able to end my day knowing that I was intentional in the lives of people, that's it. I'm done. That's a good day for me. That's a great day to know that I'm making impact. There's a level of influence and I've been intentional. That's a good day. For me to have something that someone else needs, but not to share it or not to give it, when I think about all that I've come through my own self, and to be on the other side of this and still going through because I have not arrived. And so that person in me is always ever seeking to be able to grow. The power of growth and the power to be able to live in life, but yet have a relentless attitude about life work. There's still another level that we can all grow to. Why be good when you can be great? There's just no need. There's just no need when there's another level of elite that we can all go to. And that drive on the inside of me is so very important to help people to become great people. People don't realize that greatness is on the inside of us, it's innate. But in order to get to your level of greatness, in order to activate that, there's a process of pruning. And many people don't want to be pruned. They don't want to understand what it takes in order to get to that. Those days of being lonely, choosing to be isolated, choosing to set myself apart so that I could first hear, so that I could discover, what is it about Kiesha? Because I've always known there was something different about me, but that level of uncertainty as a child, not knowing, okay, how do I fit? I don't really want to fit in, but there's a place for me. And that place for me needs to be identified in all of my differences. So that meant there was times where I had to pull myself apart to be set aside so that I could discover the authentic place of me so that I wouldn't be blown up based off of the glory of people's image and perception and what they thought. So greatness comes with a level of sacrifice. I think now in the 21st century with social media, technology, we have so many things to always keep us moving. And even though I'm empowered and even though I'm full of energy and excitement, it's very important to shut yourself down and have that quality time with yourself. Just as much as we are liking, following, studying other people, take the time to study yourself. You hear in your ear the things that you are called to, the passions that you have, but we choose to ignore because we're looking for validation. And as I always say, the only thing that needs validation is parking. That's it. Parking needs validation, but your inner knower, that thing that turns on the inside of you that says to you, I want to become, or I desire to do this, take the risk. But we're so afraid based on what people say or based on what we feel we don't have the ability to do. And my mindset says you can do it. You have to believe in you. You have to study you. You have to become equipped in the areas that you need to develop your greatness. The level of education that you need, whether it's going back to school, whether it's your own self-development, some level of discovery, whatever it is that you need to do to equip you to live out your creative person, you got to do it. You got to do it because people's lives are at stake because you could be holding the promise to somebody else's life. And if you're holding it and you choose not, it's not okay. Let me just say it's not okay for Kiesha Cousar. So therefore, I encourage you to dig deep. To dig deep. It's okay to do you, to be your authentic self. And I think that my journey of discovering who really is Kiesha, what really makes her tick. she's different. She's been through. She's carried a lot of emotional things just because of how I process. There's a lot of things that I had to war through, had to fight. But the power of choice is so very important. Every day I choose. You may see me with my makeup. You may see me encouraging and empowering people. And yes, that's innately on the inside of me. But I choose on a daily basis to fight. I choose on a daily basis to know who God says that I am. It's a choice. That's the one thing we all have in common. Every single person. It doesn't matter who you are, your status, where you've been, where you are now. We all can choose. It's the mindset. And so to be able to choose, that has freed me. Because I choose to see myself other than where I may presently be, because I know I have the power to become because of what God said and the purpose in which He created me. Because every day when I wake and I have breath, that says to me, oh my goodness, today you have purpose. Because if I did not, I would not be here. So just to be able to have breath in and of itself, despite what happens throughout my day, I have purpose, and I have power, and I have potential, and I have passion. So I have to live that out loud and do what He's called me to do. Don't be afraid of you. Fear can grip, especially women. It can just grip us and hold us hostage to the conditions of what someone else says. And so to not be afraid of you, but to love and embrace you. Your authentic self. Find out who she is. Like her. Develop her. I just can't impress the need to not mask and copy someone else when God made you. And what is it that you offer in the earth? Who is it that you are supposed to empower and encourage? What is your purpose? It's all needed. We all have holes in our souls. But do we take the time to discover the holes in our souls? A lot of times what happens is those holes are identified after something happens that's bad. That level of self-awareness that we need. That time of discovery. And so those holes that are there, the wrong people, being in the wrong place, those holes can expand. And then you're broken even more. Then you begin to connect with other people and in other places, and you're walking around empty. People are pouring things into your life, but yet it's coming out. We're sitting in church, we're sitting in workshops, we're at work, we're in different places, we're in relationship with people, but we have holes that are in our soul. And if we don't do the work so that either we can have those holes patched up only by God, He is the one that can fill those. And then there's places that we can go and people that we can talk to and have purpose partners in our lives that can help us with the holes in our soul. If you have the keys to what I need for my life and you are not doing the discovery and the development for your life, and it's not been given to me because of you choosing not to, I have a problem with that. Because we walk around consumed with things of the world to understand that we need to give that out. How much greater would we be if everybody took the mentality to grab another woman, to grab another young girl? People are hurting. People need the transparency of our pain so that they can live again. So if that takes me shedding myself so that another young girl can live, oh baby, you're gonna live. You got to live. The young girls, because I remember what it was like to be a young girl and to know that I was different and cut from a different cloth. I don't think I struggled with low self-esteem. I just struggled with difference. And nobody could understand the difference. And nobody helped me really to identify the difference the way that I needed to. There were definitely people in my life who saw it, but I needed someone to go in and help cultivate that, to nurture it, and to water that so that I could be where I needed to be. Probably could have happened a little bit earlier, but that's why God made me. So at this season in my life, there will not be a young lady who wants to grow, who has the passion to grow and be in my presence and not grow. Just can't happen.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Strong and Courageous. I'm your host, Yvonne Sims. To hear more stories of strength and courage, visit my website at YvonneSims.com or my Facebook page at Yvonne Sims. Until next time, beloved, be strong and courageous.